Hey guys, welcome to the table. I'm your host, Josh Cameron, and this is my podcast Around the Table in collaboration with District Studio and Capital Studio. And today we have a very special guest with us. We have Josh Sapu on set with us. He is an entrepreneur, the founder of and owner of Godend, which is a fashion brand in Cape Town, and it's generally been growing. So, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. Thank you for having me, by the way.
It's all good.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's get into it.
All right.
So yeah, we kind of just let's touch on Godid and how that kind of just started about for you. Like, what's the journey? What have you experienced during that journey? And just like yeah, really get us into the whole building process of the brand.
Uh-huh. All right. As you said already, you just introduced me right now. So by the way, I'm Josh again, Mr. Sapu, brand owner of Guarded. Yes. God is a clothing brand. It's a Christian clothing brand. I started it in last year in 2025, and for me, it was never part of the plan.
Mm,
But I just found myself doing it because number one, I love fashion.
yeah.
So I wanted to like create something of myself, like something that
Mm,
can describe what I feel.
mm.
So yeah, and it's been going well, but I've been pushing and everything is just been going well by the grace of God, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so cool also because, I mean, you said that like you only started last year, and I mean,
Yes,
generally it has grown,
definitely.
it has established itself well.
Yes.
And so it's also a Christian brand,
Hmm.
which I love that aspect of incorporating our faith into what we do, and into our gifts. So,
Yes.
like, why was it, or what part of you really felt to incorporate your faith into, the brand?
Number one, because obviously I'm Christian.
Yeah.
And this is just one thing I learned in my journey. Like
Mm,
if you wanna be successful in what you're doing,
mm,
you can have the skills and everything, but if you don't put God first in what you're doing,
yeah.
this is just me. I don't think it's gonna work out because you can start well, but it's not gonna end. It's not gonna end well,
Mm,
by the way. So like for me, I learned to like always put God in everything I do. It can
mm,
be clothing thing, it can be fashion, it can be
mm,
everything. Just like put God first because it helps me. It gives me more skills. Because
mm.
the way I started, I didn't go to a fashion school. I
Yeah.
didn't study graphic designing,
Mm,
but by myself and the help of God as well. So
mm.
I found myself doing good because I put in first. So
Yeah.
that was one of the reasons why I was like, no, in everything I would do, even if it's about clothes, I would stop putting first.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's so powerful. I
yeah.
mean, even just you saying like there's no real fashion background. And I mean, literally
Yeah,
last week we
yeah.
had Amarachi, she's a fashion graduate
Mm-hmm.
student. And like even just her experience was also about, incorporating God into what she does,
Choosing, yeah, yeah.
and just the importance thereof. I feel like sometimes there's always things that we tend to do
Mm-hmm.
and we do it and it keeps us busy, but it's
Because
all
yeah,
almost like not fulfilling. You
definitely,
know what I mean? So
definitely.
I love that you put it first. It was definitely something that had to be. And you said something that was like, whoa, that's crazy. You
Uh-huh.
said that you didn't actually intend to do God did. Like, so
Mm-hmm.
how did it actually come about? Was it like you sitting, or what was the vibes?
The story is actually crazy, by the way. So like, I remember I was still in school that time last year
Mm,
because I finished school last year.
okay.
I was going to school and I was in the bus. So I was like kind of broke that time. I
Yeah.
was kind of broke that time. So I was like, what can I do? Because I don't, this is just me. I don't like doing a 9 to 5 job. I
I
hate
don't
that.
think anybody
I don't
does.
like doing that. So
Yeah.
I was like, just trying to like figure out what I can do.
Mm,
So then I was like, what is something that I know how to do properly? Like what's something
mm,
that I can do properly without trying to like get or learn from other people?
yeah.
And I found myself like being in love with fashion. I was like,
Mm,
okay, I can design, I can edit and all that.
mm,
So what if I could start a clothing brand, you know,
yeah.
where I can create something? And obviously I can't say I'm not doing this for money. I'm doing this for money, but that
Yeah.
wasn't the first mindset I was
Yeah.
making with it. So then yeah, then I was like, I think I should start a clothing brand.
Mm,
And the godly name, it just came randomly. Cause I was like,
mm,
what is something that I can start knowing that it's about God anyways.
yeah.
So then I was like, okay, everything, my life, everything I've been doing, I
Mm,
always find myself I'm making it because I trusted God. So
Yeah.
then I was like, okay, cool. God, it sounds good because I was like,
Mm.
God did. So then, yeah, I was like, okay, I'll give it God did. So it was so random. I never thought of it because some people go on
Mm.
ChatGPT to get names, but so it's just like, yeah, naturally it came just like that.
That's so cool. And I mean, even just the name itself carries power, you
Definitely,
know?
yeah,
And also, like, why, when I became aware of God did, and, we started building
yeah,
our network and our
yeah.
relationship, like, I always felt such a strong connection with the brand because the name
The
carries
name
the
carries something,
power,
yeah, facts.
in just of like, and like you said, like, of what God is busy doing in our lives and what He already done.
Yeah.
And that's it's a strong concept,
Mm-hmm.
that you have going, and you've applied it really well through the branding and it's, been growing. So when you like almost notice that, I mean, obviously because God is incorporated,
Yeah,
everything,
yeah.
will succeed.
Mm-hmm.
But also when you actually did start noticing that, like, okay, wait, this is actually working out for me. And this is like, something I want to really tap into, like, how did that almost feel? Like, what was the feeling when just like seeing, okay, there's growth and there's, there's income and I'm working with people and I'm connecting with people. And, we ending up in moments like this where we actually have conversations about the stuff we're building. So like, what was that just general feeling of like, oh, this is actually working,
First of all, I was shocked, eh?
Yeah, I
I
can
was shocked
imagine.
because for me, I was telling myself, even my friends were telling me, like, are you sure you wanna like start a Christian
Mm,
brand? Because obviously it's not everyone that's gonna tap in when you say like this is it's a Christian
yeah,
brand because everyone wanna get like vibey things.
yeah,
So for me, I was kind of afraid because I was thinking maybe people are not gonna like the fact it's a Christian brand.
mm,
But like I had to do it by the way because it's not like I was trying to make myself match with others. I was trying to like bring something
stand,
that people would
yeah,
wanna like weigh in and everything.
mm,
So my fear was that I was starting a Christian clothing brand. But when I started seeing like okay, everything is going well, I was
mm,
happy. Obviously I have to be happy, but
yeah,
also I was still like thinking, what if maybe I'm just gonna do this for a year and then I'm gonna give up anyways.
mm,
So yeah, I had a lot of questions, but I have good friends, good people around me. They always
mm,
like tell me like, okay, you can do it, keep
yeah,
doing. And yeah, this is how I've been moving forward
moving
so far. Yeah.
forward. Mm.
So
That's so cool. I mean, like, even just what you said about number one, the community, but also the
yeah, the
doubts.
doubt is why. Yeah,
The doubt is so
it's always
real.
there.
Like,
It's
it's
always there.
always so real.
Yeah.
Like, even for me, with like when I'm was busy and still am busy, like
Uh-huh.
building up in league,
Yeah,
like
like
there's
yeah.
so much doubts about
Uh-huh.
like just, is this actually needed? Like, are people into this? Like, is it gonna work out financially? What do I need to do? Like, there's so much questions, and I mean, I don't know, maybe you would relate, but especially when you have God in
In it,
like,
yeah,
in it, then
yeah.
it's almost like you're always questioning like what's the root, which is good because you're getting that like spiritual guidance as
Facts,
well.
facts.
But then it's also just like, that doubt and that like,
Doubt, yeah.
and like for multiple times also I had to give up and I had to be like, okay, I have to put this on hold. But there's always that connection with what you're building.
Bodybuilding, yeah.
And so I'm sure that you also feel
I
that
felt the same
same,
way.
the same
I
way
felt the
with
same way.
God did.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
so, like, I also just kind of want to know, I mean, you've really established it well, you've really like, built this brand and you're still building it
Yeah,
till this
yeah, yeah,
day.
yeah.
And I just also kind of want to know like what your advice would almost be for like someone like me who's building something that's close to like the fashion industry,
Uh-huh.
but also just when it comes to the doubt specifically, like, how do we really go about it? What have you done also when, in those moments of, I mean, of doubt? And I
Uh-huh.
mean, you did say like,
Yeah,
having community was really important, but what else did you find really tapped into like the momentum of you just keep moving
moving
forward?
forward. The first thing you have to be delusional. That's the first thing you have to be because I just understand that people always have like something to say.
Yeah.
Even if you're doing good, even if you're doing bad,
Yeah.
they will always have something to say. So for me, I had to like do what makes me happy.
Mm,
Because the moment you feel like what you're doing, even if you're doubting yourself, but if it makes you
mm,
happy, keep doing it,
yeah.
because the moment you're gonna decide to like stop because you're doubting yourself,
Mm.
then I'll suggest you to stop actually, because
Yeah.
you can't do something that you don't even believe in yourself. I had to believe in myself
Mm.
before even other people, even my close friends, start believing in
Mm.
myself. So you have to believe in yourself. You have to be delusional. You have to be consistent. Like
Yeah.
do whatever you need to do. Make sure you are alive, you are active every
Mm.
time. And that's what I did. And there's a lot of brands right now. I'm sure you know some brands that
Yeah.
started nice, but today they're not like really doing enough,
Yeah.
they disappeared and all that. Not because maybe they didn't have much money, but I feel like they didn't know what they were looking for.
Mm.
Because I knew what I was looking for and I had to be consistent. I have to be delusional. I
Mm.
had to stay up all the time and keep
Mm.
hustling and all that. So yeah.
So would you also say like that when you're busy building something and like you're building this brand and this community around something that you love, that also like you become an innovator? You
Mm-hmm.
know, like for me, especially, I mean, coming down now to the financial part of things,
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
like, when there isn't a budget, you have to make the
You have
budget,
to make like,
you know?
yeah,
And so you really just become an innovator. You look for the free software and you look for the
yeah.
free things and you look for like the cheaper version of this and this. And almost like, how did you navigate that if you did experience that
Yeah.
when it comes to like God did? Like,
Uh-huh.
the challenges, besides just the doubt even, but obviously as an entrepreneur you encounter, challenges, whether it's like software or people or whatever, manufacturing, like all of those things. So what was like your take,
Yeah.
when these challenges came on, and then you were kind of like, okay, I'm still going to do this, but then you had to take an alternative route again, only if that applies.
The I think the only thing that saved me, because I was like quick to learn and change
Mm,
everything at like one time.
mm,
Because the first drop it was t-shirt
yeah.
and everyone went crazy for that. But I wasn't happy with the income that I made,
Mm,
So then I had to like get something that can make me gain my money that I spent.
mm,
So what I did, I didn't want to drop something that would cost me more,
yeah.
So then the second drop I did wasn't a t-shirt, it was a skull cap, the one I'm wearing right now.
Yeah.
So it didn't cost me a lot to make, but it made a
Yeah.
lot of money for me,
Mm.
because I didn't even know that I was gonna sell it, because
Yeah.
I didn't make enough money with the t-shirt, but
Mm.
I made more money with the skull caps, and
Mm.
I didn't spend a lot.
Yeah.
So that was a strategy that I used, because I found myself, I was like, wasn't making money.
Yeah.
I spent a lot to make the t-shirt and all
Yeah.
that promotion,
Mm.
all these things, but I didn't make enough. So I was like, what can I do at this moment?
Mm.
I can't also give up. I can't stop making, continue this brand. So then I had to figure out ways where I can do something at least to just keep the
Mm.
brand up. So then I came with this idea of like releasing skull caps. And the
Mm.
first picture I posted, I remember last year, the moment I posted, like the whole Instagram was like crazy. TikTok was
Yeah.
like crazy. And I don't have a website yet. So then I had to ask my friends to like help me respond to the
Mm.
messages when people want to order and all that. So that was a strategy that I used,
Mm.
because I was running out of money,
Mm.
and then I had to like switch to something else. Then I made the skull caps, and it
Mm.
went well. I did make a good
Mm.
income, and yeah,
I love that, because you saw what wasn't working,
yeah, and I
but
had
it's
to
not
change.
like, again, it's not that you gave up,
I gave
you
up. Yeah,
found an alternative,
yes.
and then using that alternative, also not really knowing the expectation. I would almost say, like,
Uh-huh.
because I know I've experienced this, when something doesn't work, you almost get doubtful
Then
about
I
trying the
gonna
next
give up. Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And then when the next thing actually does work, then you're like, okay,
Okay.
wait, now let me build in this momentum. And you know
Yeah.
what's crazy?
Uh,
Last year,
uh-huh.
when you dropped like the images of the caps and all that stuff, like I was actually part of that whole thing,
Easy.
because like obviously we were through main league, like paying attention to a lot of
The
brands and
brands.
to
Yeah.
like the influencers and creatives and all of those things.
Yeah.
And I actually saw that, and I saw like how it was going, and I was like, okay, this works,
Uh-huh. It
because
did.
it's not, like you say, also the story behind it
Yes. Yes.
was that, like, you saw the one didn't work out
Workout,
the
and you
way
had to
that you
change.
wanted, but you innovated
Yes.
on that. And that's so cool, because again, it's being an entrepreneur, and like what I'm also learning, your first objective, or if you, how can I say, like, a Christian based brand, your second objective
Mhm.
would then obviously be profit.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
you obviously don't want to just do something or do stuff, but you see that it's actually,
Yeah,
like taking you
working,
back
taking,
and
yeah,
actually pushing you forward.
yeah.
And I would say an important part, and maybe you'd agree with me,
Mhm.
an important part of also making that profit is to give other creatives opportunity, right?
Yes,
Like
definitely.
what we've been seeing God do with the models and the networking and the photographers and all of those things. So like when it comes to almost that like, you know tackle between profit and then also empowering other people or
Other
giving
people's,
other
yeah.
people opportunities,
Mhm.
how have you almost like taken like that approach on?
Mhm. Um, for me, I would say I didn't really experience that, but I was like getting people like
Mm.
I never like went to people and said, please can you model for my brand and stuff. So I was like,
Mm.
I think God was just opening ways for me,
Yeah.
because I will get a lot of people, can I model for your brand? And then maybe in my
Mm.
head, I'm like, do I need to pay them? Like, no, you don't have to pay me. I just want to wear your brand and model for it. So
Mm.
it's been just going like that. I never like force things.
Yeah.
So I would say people helped me actually make opportunities.
Mm.
They made like a lot of opportunities for me because I'm sure there are like other people that saw my brand not because of myself,
Yeah.
but because of maybe like two models that model for my
Yeah.
brand. And yeah, so I wouldn't say I made opportunities for them. They
They
made
made
mine. Yeah,
opportunities for you.
yeah,
I love that.
yeah, yeah,
I genuinely love that and that take on it,
yeah.
because that is also something that also happened with like what I did. Like
Man, Nico.
it's not that I went to people and like made things.
Yeah,
A
people
lot of the
can.
time there was also just times that people came
Mm-hmm.
my way and it was like, this is crazy that like, these things
Mm,
are actually happening,
mm-hmm.
which is, definitely again a spiritual take on it.
Definitely,
Like
definitely.
not everything is always our way. Some things God just like
Make his ways,
integrates
yeah,
into our walk,
for sure,
and we go with the flow.
for sure.
And so, I mean, this podcast recording, we're kind of doing a lot. There's a campaign behind it
Yeah,
also.
yeah.
They
It
You
should
have
be.
something coming, might be out already.
I didn't want
Don't
to speak about it, but I'm gonna
Okay.
say it. I'm actually like I'll be dropping next month.
Hmm.
Sweatpants.
That's dope.
Yeah, and I
That's
wish I
dope.
could I could show you, but yeah, it's actually nice. I'm
Hmm.
sure it's gonna do good. I'm dropping
Hmm.
sweatpants next month. I've been working on those designs like for like 2 months now.
Hmm.
But also I was like, I'm still like trying to like decide if I should drop them because I'm thinking what if I don't sell enough,
Yeah.
you know. But I mean I trust in God and
Hmm.
I know I'll make it. I know, for sure, yeah.
Definitely. I actually love that and what you've just said, because again it takes like back to that conversation of the
Conversation,
doubt and
yeah,
like,
doubting, yeah.
just being like, is it gonna work? But I also think what is cool that you're doing also is that you're expanding the catalog
Yeah.
of what's available
Yes.
to other people.
Yes.
And something that you also said, 2 months. I love the intention behind it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of the days now, like that we're living in, a lot of stuff is like fast fashion, like things move in and out.
Mm-hmm.
And so, how do you feel, or like, what is the process behind actually curating a product for God did, so that it's also, like you say, you want to stand out, you want to make it your own, you want
Yeah.
to not fit other people, but you want to make it fit
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
who you are as
Yes.
an
Individual.
individual.
Yes.
So like, what is the whole process behind, even like just through your brain, like what goes on when you actually think about the products and sit and actually design and do all of the things and think about the drops and all of those things?
So there's one funny thing about me, right? So like when I'm designing something, the moment I'm done designing, I'm not gonna like it. I have to like ask my friends to like maybe tell me, "Oh, do you like?" I'm gonna maybe like I'm gonna go to my sister or my
Mm.
friends. I'll be like, "Is this nice?" So if they say it's not nice, then I'm gonna have to double think again.
Mm.
Maybe it's nice already, but the
Yeah.
fact that they're already telling me it's not nice. So what
Mm.
I do is whenever I'm like designing, I will like go to people
Mm.
like my close friends. I'll
Mm.
ask them, "Is this nice? Is the design okay?"
Mm.
And all the time they always say it's nice. They always say nice,
Yeah.
but I'll still like doubt myself, like It's just really
Mm.
nice, But yeah, so this is just how I always deal with my production
Mm.
and all that. Yeah,
So it's like a collaborative input
yeah, yeah, yeah,
when, shaping up a product
yeah.
that you're going to be releasing,
Yes, yes,
getting that external
yeah.
input
To
into
confirm
the
and all
whole
that.
process, which is
Yes,
also, I mean, what needs to happen,
yeah,
because
definitely.
obviously what you're doing is you're creating something obviously that people need to
People
buy.
need to buy, so you can't
So
decide on
you
yourself.
can't just,
Yeah,
decide on yourself like,
yeah,
okay, I think this is cool, but
yeah.
then other
People won't
people,
like it.
So
Uh-huh.
I love that external feedback is a part of that process of
Yeah.
just creating a product,
Yes.
because
Yes.
it is very important as you develop and as you establish your
Uh-huh.
own brand, you would
Definitely.
say, like, obviously,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so I love just also that I'm feeling there's a very strong sense of community
Yeah.
that you've brought around the brand,
Yes.
and again, like I've said, the name resonated with me also because it's a testimony name, like it carries the weight, it carries power, and I feel like that brought in a sense of community
Uh-huh.
that you didn't expect.
Uh-huh.
So in terms of like future reference now, like continuing this the journey of building this community around God did, what would you kind of want to shape it or want to enhance in the community?
In terms of like the drops or like
Yeah, like the
collaborating with people.
drops or even just the brand itself, like, because obviously there's the models, the photographers, the
Yeah.
consumers, the
Yeah.
people that's giving the input,
Uh-huh.
throughout the process.
Uh-huh.
So like in all aspects of this, how would you for the future like to like enhance this, the community?
Because right now I do everything myself.
Mm,
So then I was like thinking maybe by next year, like
mm,
get the actual like a proper team,
mm.
people that will look after certain things because
Yeah.
besides just me being a brand owner, I make music as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so like sometimes I don't get enough time to look after the brand. I have to like maybe
Mm,
go and perform somewhere. So
mm,
all these things, I was like thinking of like having a proper team, people that
mm,
can I know I trust and they can like manage things and all that. So
mm.
that's probably my project for like next year. Yeah,
Okay, that's
yeah,
cool. I love that. And the
yeah,
fact that, I mean, you kind of did speak to us about this, and I was going to tap into that part of
yeah,
just like how you're still kind of
yeah.
doing
Do
this on
everything
your
myself.
own.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, that's actually
yeah.
insane.
I mean, it's not easy though. It's not easy,
Hmm.
but like you have no choice because it's not like I don't have people that I trust, but
Yeah.
I can have the people, but are they willing to like put their time on,
Hmm.
helping something that is
Yeah.
not theirs. So it's all about me getting the right people at the right time.
Hmm.
And yeah, once I have those people, I'll start definitely, yeah,
Hmm.
for sure.
Because, like, even just looking from like the outside,
Uh
it looks like there's
there's a
this
team.
whole team just like
Yeah.
doing everything and like it's going crazy.
Uh-huh.
And when I even found out like when you told us that like, oh no, I'm just doing this
That's how.
like right now by myself, I was like,
You didn't
guys,
believe that.
I couldn't believe it.
Damn.
But it also shows what your standard is as
Yeah.
well when it comes to even just the marketing, the social media promotion of your products and all of those things. Like
Yeah.
you can see that it's like serious, and that
Definitely.
you're busy building on that quality. I think guys even shot at shoot studios as well,
Yeah,
if
shoot
I'm
studio.
correct.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so like even in terms of that, obviously, like you said, you want to get a team
Yeah.
that is obviously going to build this with you,
Yeah, together, yeah.
not out of, and that's important, that it's not out of also like just financial gain, but that building something together,
Yeah.
building this community,
Yes, yes.
And so, in terms of like the quality and just the production of everything, like, what is your almost like maintenance process of ensuring that like the products, the content, the people, like all of those things are quality, since you actually don't have that team right now and
Uh,
since it's still like you running the show,
uh,
but it doesn't look that way. So like what is your strategy, or how do you just even go about like selecting the things, the materials, the people, the photographers, like all of those, and bringing all of that
together.
together?
Um, in terms of like when I like trying to like produce something,
Mm.
um, I always like I'll take everything myself a store. So I'll
Mm.
do the walking, I'll go and search for fabrics, make sure I
Mm.
like it also, you know.
Mm.
So yeah, that's just how I do it. So I'll make sure I love the
Mm.
fabric. I must see it by myself. I can't send someone because most of
Mm.
the time it's always like they don't like I won't like it after they buy it, you know. So I have
Mm.
to make sure that I love the brand the fabric. I know exactly what I want, you know. So all these things. So that's just how I do it. And in terms of the models, what people I should select, what
Mm.
type of people must work with, there's
Mm.
always one person that always help me. She's my cousin.
Okay.
Shout out to Joy B. Yeah. So she helps me because she's very like street, you know. So
Mm.
she's like one person that I can be like, I wanna shoot to this person. She'll be like, no, don't take this girl,
Mm.
don't take this guy, you know,
Mm.
all these things like that. So she helps me a lot. And yeah, so I just feel like the best way to like manage everything is just like
Mm.
I always prefer to do it by myself and see
Mm.
everything for myself before I like decide on anything, you
Mm.
know. So yeah, that's how I do it.
And obviously also before like you get a team on
Yeah,
board,
yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and something that's actually interesting that's coming to me now is like you're obviously managing everything and you obviously just have people come
yeah.
in when it's needed
Yes, yes,
and
yes.
all of those things and you're managing everything. So like what I'm kind of getting also just from like thinking about the brand in my head and listening to like your story and your journey,
Uh-huh.
it's also definitely like you coming in and you almost setting the standard
Yeah.
for the future team that's
Yes,
coming in.
yes, yes.
That's like kind of the
That's
vision that
the
I'm
yes,
getting, you
yes,
know?
yes, yes.
So that it's also like a not people are coming in and you still figuring it out and
Yeah.
you still like
Trying
have
to
to get it with
decide and
him.
all
But then
that.
it's almost like you've got the standard, you've got the quality assurance, you've got all of those things.
Yeah.
Now I just need people
Like
who's gonna
just to
come in.
confirm some more, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people who's just gonna like come in, enhance what we're
Yeah.
doing, make it easier, or like distribute the responsibility as
Yes,
well.
yes.
And then, just run with it,
Yeah.
you know? So like something I want to touch on also again is just like that of that, you know, you said like there was no fashion institution behind you and
Uh-huh.
all of those things. So how did you actually tap into fashion? Like how did that come about you that it was like, okay, this is actually want to get into like before even just thinking about the brand and thinking about what I need to do, like when did fashion come into the story?
I think it's a family thing. I
Mm.
think it's a family because my dad was like, I don't know if you have heard about those sapology thing.
Yeah.
See, like those old
Yeah.
people that are always like, yeah.
Yeah.
So like, you know what I'm talking about, right?
I do. I had to
Yeah.
think
So
about it for
like,
a second. And it
he
was
was
like,
like into those things. Like, he used to like
mm,
love fashion, but I was never interested in that. I used to like wear skinny jeans and stuff, and for me, that
no.
was like drip, you know. So like, I don't even know how I started. Like,
mm,
like, I don't even know when did I start like this whole
mm,
fashion thing. So it just came like that. I didn't even understand how I
mm,
became so in love with fashion. And the fact that I didn't go to a fashion school, I didn't go to
mm,
any graphic designing school. So
mm,
everything just flow. I watch
mm,
videos, I learn on the internet. ChatGPT helped me sometimes,
mm.
and I put the work for myself. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I love what you said. Like just that part of like learning online and
yeah.
actually using what's available to you because and even just like the story of fashion just
Yeah.
being something that came naturally.
Mhm.
Like it's not even like, oh, it started from like 2 years
Yeah,
ago. It started
exactly.
like
No.
it was just a build up. It
Mhm.
was just an integration of who you're becoming
Yeah.
and what you meant to
Meant to be.
do.
Yeah.
But I specifically love the part that you said, like, that you just took the resources available to
Yeah.
you and you went with it, and that's something that I'm strongly like standing on because last year I took a gap year
Mhm.
and obviously like I had all of these things of what am I going to do? I
Mhm.
want to study but like not getting in, and there was like obviously that whole challenge, right?
Mhm.
But something I also firmly believed on was like use what is available to you to
That's the way.
learn,
Definitely.
because at
Definitely.
some point you don't know everything and there's so much more to learn on the journey.
Facts.
And it's like, there's the YouTube videos, there's online courses, there's all of those type of things that can help you build something without like almost the formal
Mhm.
qualification until those opportunities come,
Definitely.
until you actually can financially afford it, or a window and an opportunity comes your way where it's like,
Yeah,
okay, now I can go study and I can go do all of these things.
for sure.
But what I want to ask is like, is that something you'd be interested in, like, going to a fashion university, or do you just feel like you just still want to run with this and bring in the people that have, gone through that process and just build it up with them as well?
Um, I would say I love inspiring people.
Mm,
So maybe I would wanna go to a university. I mean, to university and study it properly.
mm,
And maybe out there there's like someone that want the food to go to university
mm,
and like study proper, fashion and all that.
mm,
So for me, I would prefer to like continue like this and inspire someone and tell them one day that you can still do it. You don't need to go to school. You don't need to like go to
mm.
university for you to actually be a actual graphic designer or
Yeah,
fashion guy. So I would prefer to like stay like this and keep inspiring people that can't afford to go to
yeah.
university. Yeah. So yeah, that's just how I can say. And you know what's
Mm,
crazy is that,
mm,
let me ask you actually. So do you when you look at the brand,
mm.
um if someone had to ask you what equipment do we use to like shoot and everything, videos, what would you say? What do you think?
I don't know equipment like that, but I would say that it's like genuinely gotta be like
Cameras,
cameras, like
that.
that type of vibe, like,
Uh,
whole setup,
I,
energy.
I I use a phone.
That's crazy.
I use a phone. I edit on my phone. Everything,
Everything,
everything.
like all the shoots that we've.
And a lot of people don't believe me when I say that. I use an iPhone 17, sometimes 16, just like that.
Mm,
I will shoot everything on my phone, but I might just make sure the lighting's good, obviously.
yeah.
Yeah. But I'll do everything on my phone. The only time I use a camera is like when I'm trying to like post the first video, like for the first drop.
Mm,
Then I'm gonna use a camera. But
yeah.
all these videos and pictures, the reels that you guys see,
Yeah.
everything I do it on my phone. So what you said, use what you can, like what you
Mm,
have for you to do what you want to do. So that's what I use. Like I just make sure I work with what I have.
mm,
Maybe later on I'm gonna get cameras, but for now it's not like I can't afford the camera, but I just like
yeah.
prefer to use it because I'm good with it. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's just
That's actually so insane.
yeah,
That's like mind blowing, because I would like, again,
yeah.
just going back to what I said about like,
Uh,
it looks like there's a whole team
team by
going
this.
on behind this, like
Yeah,
content and things that you putting out.
yeah.
And like, the more you just revealing stuff, the more
The
I'm
more you
just
say
like,
like,
okay,
wow.
wrap it up. Like, actually, this is insane.
Yeah,
But I also love that because you actually also just being innovative when it comes
yeah,
to your brand. You are using the resources
yeah.
that is available to you. And I feel like that is something that I had to also learn,
Uh-huh.
with just getting me in league to where it is. And, all the other stuff that I'm doing is like, you've just got to tap into what you have
Yeah, I have to.
and then pray for better to come.
Definitely.
Like, that was literally something that I also did
Uh-huh.
when it came to this podcast. Even it was
Uh-huh.
like, I just started in my
Uh,
lounge. I
uh,
was like, okay, let's go. It's just me, my little camera over there, my little laptop
uh,
at the side, and I'm
uh-huh.
like doing this. And I started every episode, and like, I'll continue saying this. I started every episode with like, yeah, we're at the table and we're still just doing this little setup, but we're trusting God for better.
Yeah,
And literally, God
he's
brought
doing it
in better, because faith played a role, innovation played a role, and just also, again, using the resources that I have and trusting that better is going to come,
for sure.
you know? And I mean, that's just, I'm still mind blown at the fact that, like, this is really self made,
Yeah,
like the craft, the intention, the production, the quality, the designing. It's like, all you, it's literally like coming out of you. It's like
yeah,
you as an individual
yes.
building this brand. And that's so inspiring to hear, because a lot of the times also we'd look up to the celebrities and we'd look up
Yeah,
to those established people and be like, almost like dismissed,
Uh-huh.
we dismiss ourselves and our
Ourself,
own
yeah.
potential because
Yes.
it's like I could never be
Be
there.
like them, yeah.
And to actually hear a story where it's like I'm actually doing something, I'm still learning, I'm still burning, I'm still learning
You're
and I'm
still
still
learning, yeah.
growing,
Yeah, yeah,
sorry,
yeah, yeah.
but I'm also having faith part of it,
That you make
and
it,
I'm
yeah.
being innovative. I'm using the resources to grow what I'm busy doing,
Uh-huh.
you know.
Uh-huh.
And when it comes to that, also, like, almost what other advice would you give to specifically entrepreneurs? I don't want to almost just like categorize it to, you know,
Passion.
fashion,
Yeah.
like just entrepreneurs in general. Like, what would your advice be to young aspiring entrepreneurs when it comes to actually just building something with the resources that they have? And then also with taking everything into consideration, like the doubt and all of those things, and overcoming that, what would your advice be to those young creatives that it's like, you know what, you can actually do this,
Yeah.
or you know?
What I can say is start with what you have.
Yeah.
Like you don't need to like start obviously with the 4K
Mm,
quality of videos and stuff,
mm,
but just start with what you have, because by trying to like impress people, you will never do
mm,
what you're supposed to be doing. You're gonna
mm,
find yourself trying to like be like others,
mm,
and in this world, if you're trying to like be like other people, you're gonna end up being stuck somewhere and you even lose your dream.
mm,
So start with what you have. You're not gonna get it right for the first time, but just keep on doing it.
mm,
Doesn't matter what quality of videos you're gonna produce. Doesn't
mm,
matter what type of clothes you're gonna make, but just start with what you have, and
mm,
that's how you grow. Because today you will start in the low quality. Tomorrow
mm,
you're gonna see that low quality of yesterday was bad. You're gonna try to improve, and
mm.
this is just how you grow. So yeah,
And also definitely like um critiquing yourself but in a positive way,
yes,
you know,
that's
like
also
being
yeah.
like, okay, didn't really like this, but
Uh,
there's room for
to
improvement,
improvement
there's not
exactly.
room to shut
To
down.
shout there and say, okay, I'm done. I'm not doing this no more. You
Literally,
see,
like
yeah.
almost just actually tapping into it and being like, okay, I'm seeing this thing,
Uh-huh.
and it's like, what can I improve about it?
Uh-huh.
You know, especially like what you say, you have this external input
Yeah.
that's and feedback that's coming in,
Yes,
you know,
sir.
that's helping you shape this brand as well.
Uh-huh.
And then it's also like when you get these like feedback and stuff, and it's maybe a little bit negative,
Uh-huh.
to actually sit with it and be like, how do I improve,
Yeah.
instead of how do I just shut down
Just
and walk away and be
walk
like,
away. Yeah.
you know, that's,
Yeah.
I'm done with this.
That's
And
never the one.
so when it comes also to like just tapping into the brand further and what is to come and the future, like what are your aspirations also? Because I feel like I like what you said also about the delusional part.
Yeah.
Some part of being an entrepreneur is also just in your mind being like, I'm gonna make it,
Just say
you
it.
know, like I'm gonna
Yeah.
make it. And for the future, like, you know, obviously continuing to build all of these things that you have got going on,
Yeah.
what does that picture almost look like? Because I feel like ambition is also what drives
Yeah.
growth,
Yeah.
you know?
Uh, I would say I wanna like have an actual like store
Mm,
where people can like, because this online thing, you get someone, they wanna order something, they will give you a lot
mm,
of job, but they're just ordering something that's like 350.
yeah.
They'll be like, can you send first the picture? I want to see, is the quality nice? What size is
Mm,
it? So I would prefer like the next project that I have or plan, I would love
mm,
to like own a Gaudi store where
mm,
people can walk in and like check, they feel the material for themselves.
mm,
They decide whether they want to buy it or not.
mm,
So yeah, I'm looking to it, toward that plan.
mm,
And yeah, I would say that that's just one of the plan that I have for now.
mm.
Just on a actual
I
Gaudi
love,
store.
yeah, I love that also because it's like something that I'm learning is also while I'm studying right now is also like customer experience.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and like what you're
Yeah.
saying, you don't always have the time.
To like explain everything and all that. And it's like
Yeah,
irritating,
I can imagine because
Yeah.
it's like you're really building on this, and then
Yeah.
it's still, and obviously we love and appreciate the
Yeah.
support that's coming
Yes,
in,
yes.
but it's also that customer experience of actually coming
Coming in
into
and see the
the
product for
store
themselves.
and
Yeah.
just being like, okay, I love this,
Yeah.
let's get it,
Yeah.
you know, and Bob's your uncle.
Uh-huh.
And then you can obviously continue on the expansion and the
Yeah.
growth
Yeah.
of your business.
Yes.
So now let's kind of like flip it around.
Uh,
what did you say to the young entrepreneurs that have goals and aspirations,
Yeah.
but they're still finding points of struggle?
I think they should take time to be sure of what they wanna like do, because sometimes we wanna start something and we're still struggling. It's better
Mm,
you just relax. In the
mm,
time of you relaxing, you can learn. Learn
mm,
while you're relaxing, than to just keep quiet and shut down everything.
mm,
So if you start trying to like figure out what you need to do, or you know what you want to do, but you're not sure of starting, I'll prefer you like relax, take time to learn, and take time to like make sure that you're ready to start. Because the
mm,
moment you start, it's the same thing as me. The moment I start this clothing brand, there was like no way to go back. Or I
mm.
can't just come out of nowhere and be like, I want to stop doing this. Like, because
Yeah,
I'll get a lot of people be like, yo, why did you stop gardening and all that?
yeah.
So I had to like be sure that what I want is really something that I'll keep doing for the rest of my life. You get?
Mm,
So yeah, that's just what I can say. If you have something that you want to start, make sure you know exactly what you want to do.
mm,
Not just because you saw someone else doing it, what you want to do, but make sure
mm,
it's your own, like you're convicted to like start what you want to start. And yeah,
mm.
like that, no one is gonna tell you otherwise. No one's gonna tell you otherwise. So yeah.
I love that because I feel like I actually also need to take
Yeah,
that advice for
yeah,
myself
yeah.
because it's also just like I am a very ambitious person.
Uh-huh.
I love setting up goals and setting up like things that I want to achieve,
Hmm.
but it's also like what I'm teaching myself, especially in this year, is actually be
Yeah,
intentional
yeah.
about what you're busy building.
Building, yeah.
Because again, like when we started this episode, like when there's no intention, when God is not involved, or when you don't have your faith playing a
Yeah,
role in your business, then people can also feel the emptiness,
yeah, definitely.
of the business. It's not just like a, oh, like I can just do this and
Hmm.
like, it will blow up and
Yeah,
whatever. Like there needs to be some sort of emotional connection. There
facts.
needs to be intention about it. So I love what you're sharing. It's just about like slowing it down,
Yeah,
thinking about it. And even in that thinking, that was so cool. I
still
love
learn.
that. Even
Yeah,
in that thinking,
keep learning.
you will, grow and you
Yeah,
will learn
yeah,
about more about what you actually want to create.
yeah,
And so I say like for the final question, like what I mean, we kind of spoke about it a lot, but almost like what would you say when it comes to like other entrepreneurs who are also established,
yeah.
or like on a similar level to you? I'm sure that you've seen like, other entrepreneurs
Yeah.
doing on the same grind and all of those things.
Mhm.
So, like, what would you say to the young people when it's like looking up to you guys and what you're busy doing to also get to that level?
I think they should do it with love.
Mm,
Yeah, they should like do what they're doing with love, because this is also one thing that I feel like Cape Town is struggling with, is like in
mm,
terms of like supporting each other. Because
mm,
I can't be running a clothing brand that is successful and look at someone that I know is still trying, and I might be like, I
mm,
can't help him because I don't wanna be in the same level as him. So if we could come together and be like, my friend is running a clothing brand, I have a clothing brand. What if we could create something to boost both
mm,
of us? And I love what you're doing. You're like
mm.
trying to like grow together with everyone at the
Yeah,
same time, which is a
definitely.
great thing. So if we're gonna do everything that we're doing with love, I think that's the best way to like grow
Mm,
and impact the world.
mm.
So yeah,
I love that piece of advice.
yeah,
And that's
thank you.
like the perfect way to just wrap this whole
Yeah,
episode up.
yeah,
So, Mr. Sapu,
yes, sir.
thank you so, so much
Thank you
for
so
being on
much.
the episode. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
Those of you online listening to the podcast or watching it on YouTube, definitely go check out the brand God Did
Yes, sir.
and go follow, go like, and support Around the Table as well.
Yes,
And
sir.
we'll catch you guys in the next episode.